Hello, my name is Mark, and today I'm going to be going over practice passage 3 for the reading comprehension portion for the IBEW aptitude test. Guys, make sure that you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed, and make sure to check out all my playlists curated just for you. And yes, please, extra like the video because your boy felt like he was doing a school project or something. I put a lot of time in this, and honestly, I am super proud of my work. All right, so please, if there's anything that you could do for me, just like the video, okay? And also an announcement, don't click any suspicious links in the comments or in your YouTube DMs. Anything like this presentation, the slide deck from this presentation, anything that you need can be sent to you by email from me. So make sure to get my email address in the description or from anywhere in my channel and email me for anything. If you must click any links in the comments, good luck. Let's go ahead and start the presentation. The reading comprehension test. It is made up of 36 questions, and you will have 51 minutes to complete the test. The average pace is about 1 minute and 25 seconds per question, and that includes reading the passage, so you will have less time. Good thing is a passage usually takes about 5 to 10 minutes to read, hopefully 5 minutes. And then you will have, I don't know how much time after that, but 5 to 10 minutes to read a passage in your head. Okay, we're going to read it slower though. There is no penalty for guessing, so
answer every question.
Okay, this one is in bold. Answer every question. The number of passages is not publicly specified. However, from feedback from you guys, there's about 4 to 5 passages per test. So that leaves, or that makes up 7 to 8 questions per passage. The lesson goal is to build a repeatable strategy for finding evidence and eliminating close answer choices. Okay? We're not here to memorize the passage. All you need to do is understand what the question is asking and then skim through the passage after you're done reading it to find evidence that best supports the answer. Usually, okay, the answer is in, like, word for word in the passage. There are a couple of inference questions where you will have to find evidence from several parts of the passage, but for the most part, most of the answers are word for word in the passage. You just have to read it, okay? And that's where I recommend that you read books, okay? Your boy reads Halo, science fiction, okay? The Bible, all right? And financial self-help books, okay? Just read books. I know that after high school and after college, you probably won't do it because you're going to be super busy. But if you have time to be going on your phone, scrolling and doing whatnot, you got time to read. Okay, this sparks up your imagination and this will help you prepare for what you will endure in the reading comprehension portion of this test. Okay? Read books, guys. The common reading comprehension question types are right here. Make sure that you take a screenshot of this, study them, write them down so you are prepared once these types of questions are being asked on the test. Next, we have practice passage 3, the description. Okay, so this is based on Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly, a game that I have played on my channel. Make sure to check that out after you're done watching this video. Okay? Watch everything. Okay? Just leave me out in the background. Okay? That'll be nice too. And like all those videos. I super appreciate if you did that. Okay. There are 8 paragraphs combining plot summary with thematic analysis. The estimated reading level is grade 12. You got to be smart. I'm looking at you. I think the average reading level in the US is like 5th grade. Okay? Don't be there. Please do not be there. All right. No prior knowledge of the game is required, but you should watch me play it and learn about the game. Track relationships, cause and effect, and parallels between characters. Spoiler warning, includes the full story and ending. Okay, as I read, because I am going to read the passage, as I read, pay attention to the relationships between the characters, the causes and effects of important events, and the ways the pass begins to repeat itself. Okay, this passage is about 1,250 words, which will take about 5 minutes to read if you're reading it in your head. For me, reading it to you, it's going to take me about 10 minutes. Okay, pay attention to how I read it. My pauses, my breaths, all that stuff. Okay, my enunciations. Okay, because I want you to read like me. Okay, this is about how I would attack the passage. All right, there's no standard. Okay, there's no standard to reading a passage. Okay, I'm not here to tell you that this is the right way to read the passage. No, I'm here to tell you like this is how I'm going to read the passage, and this is how I am going to attack the questions. Okay, moving on. So reading the passage and paragraph mapping. So let us go ahead and go to the passage. Okay. The passage is 8 paragraphs long, and just bear with me. Don't bear with me. Enjoy reading the passage with me. Okay? When the pass refuses to end. At the center of Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly is a promise between 2 twin sisters. It is a promise that offers comfort but gradually becomes a trap. As children, Mio and Mayu Amakura were separated in the woods when Mayu fell from a cliff while trying to follow Mio, an accident that injured Mayu's leg and left Mio with lasting guilt. Afterward, Mio treated her sister's safety as a personal obligation, while Mayu became increasingly fearful of being left behind. Years later, the sisters returned to the forested valley where the accident occurred, an area that will soon be flooded by a new dam. Although the visit appears to offer one final opportunity to remember their childhood, the landscape also revives the unresolved emotions created by the fall. Mio's need to protect Mayu and Mayu's determination to keep Mio close. While Mio pauses near a stream, Mayu notices a crimson butterfly and follows it deeper into the forest. Mio pursues her, repeating the pattern that has shaped their relationship. Mayu moves toward danger, and Mio feels compelled to bring her back. The trail leads them into Minakami Village, an abandoned settlement said to have vanished from the map. Although they reached it through an ordinary forest path, the village does not obey ordinary time. Night never ends, roads refuse to lead outside, and hostile spirits occupy the houses. The sisters search for an exit together, but Mayu is repeatedly drawn away by butterflies, voices, and visions that Mio cannot fully understand. Each separation increases Mio's urgency while revealing that Mayu is not merely lost. Some force within the village recognizes her and is guiding her toward a purpose established long before either sister arrived. Mio's only reliable defense is the camera obscura, an antique camera capable of revealing and repelling spirits. Yet the device also represents how the village's history must be uncovered indirectly, one fragment at a time. Abandoned diaries describe ceremonies without immediately explaining them, while ghostly visions repeat moments whose significance becomes clear only after Mio discovers additional evidence. A relatively peaceful spirit named Itsuki Tachibana even mistakes Mio for a girl named Yai and urges her to save her twin sister, Sai. At first, these names seem unrelated to Mio and Mayu. Gradually, however, the documents, photographs, and encounters converge. Mio realizes that the village is not haunted by a collection of connected deaths. Mio realizes that the village is not haunted by a collection of disconnected deaths. Nearly every spirit is tied to an attempt to control the hellish abyss beneath the village, and the unfinished history of one pair of twins is becoming to surround another. The residents of Minakami Village believed that the hellish abyss was a gateway capable of releasing a destructive force into the world. To appease it, they periodically performed the Crimson Sacrifice ritual using a pair of twins. They believed the twins shared one soul divided between two bodies. During the ceremony, the elder twin strangled the younger, whose body was then offered to the abyss. Death supposedly reunited the divided soul and produced the power required to seal the gateway. The sacrificed twin would emerge spiritually as a crimson butterfly, while the surviving twin remained behind. This explanation transformed murder into an obligation and separation into a form of reunion. Instead of questioning whether the ritual was justified, the community treated its continuation as necessary for everyone's survival. Each new pair of twins consequently inherited a burden created by earlier generations, perpetuating a system in which affection between siblings could be used to demand obedience and sacrifice. Sai and Yai Kurosawa were selected after an earlier pair of twins failed to complete the ritual successfully. Itsuki, who had survived that ceremony after losing his own twin, understood what awaited them and helped plan their escape. Before the appointed sacrifice, Sai and Yai fled through the hidden passage, but they did not remain together. Sai fell behind and was captured. While Yai continued beyond the village without realizing her sister was no longer following, their separation became the emotional center of the disaster that followed. Yai escaped the immediate danger, but their separation had lasting consequences for both sisters. Sai was returned to the villagers, who were determined to complete the ritual. Because the village had taught the sisters that remaining together mattered more than living separately, escape was emotionally complicated even when it was physically possible. Sai's longing for Yai therefore reflected more than a wish to be rescued. It also contained the belief that separation itself was a betrayal, an idea that would later make Mayu vulnerable to Sai's influence. By the time Sai was recaptured, the villagers were already desperate. A visiting folklorist had been transformed into a temporary sacrifice known as the Kusabi. But his death merely delayed the danger from the abyss. With Yai gone, the villagers attempted the twin ritual using Sai alone, killing her and casting her body into the abyss in the hope that one victim might accomplish what the ceremony required from two. Instead, the sacrifice failed because Sai's soul could not be reunited with her absent sister. This failure triggered the repentance, the catastrophe the rituals were intended to prevent. Darkness poured from the abyss, the dead returned, and Sai and the Kusabi became powerful, vengeful spirits. The village was consumed by violence and sealed beneath a night that never ended. Its residents had performed the ritual to preserve their community, but their refusal to abandon it produced the community's destruction and left the unfinished ceremony waiting for another pair of twins. Mio and Mayu provide that pair. As Mayu spends more time separated from Mio, Sai's memories and desires begin to overtake her. Mayu becomes a suitable replacement rather than a random victim, because her fear of abandonment echoes Sai's conviction that separation from her twin is unbearable. Mio is drawn into the corresponding role of Yai. Itsuki mistakes her for Yai. The village's visions place her inside Yai's memories, and the ritual requires Mio to decide whether she will flee or return for her sister. Nevertheless, the two stories are not identical. Yai escaped while Sai remained behind, whereas Mio repeatedly turns back whenever Mayu disappears, believing these returns prove that she will never abandon her sister. The village uses that devotion to lead Mio toward the ceremony until protection and sacrifice become inextricably connected. Saving Mayu requires reaching her, but reaching her places both sisters exactly where the village wants them. At the hellish abyss, Mio defeats the Kusabi and reaches Mayu, but their reunion does not restore their freedom. Surrounded by the spirits of those who conducted earlier ceremonies, the sisters complete the ritual that Sai and Yai could not. Mio strangles Mayu, whose body is then carried into the abyss. A crimson butterfly rises in Mayu's place, signaling that the divided soul has been reunited and the sacrifice has succeeded. The spirits overseeing the ceremony disappear, but Mio is left to pursue the butterfly in grief, apologizing to the sister she had promised to protect. Afterward, a crimson mark on her neck suggests that Mayu remains attached to her even in death. The promise that the twins would always remain together is therefore fulfilled, but only according to the village's distorted interpretation. Fatal Frame 2 presents attachment as both loving and dangerous. Devotion can inspire someone to return for another person, yet when love is defined as permanent possession, it can perpetuate the harm it was meant to prevent. Okay, next I have paragraph mapping. And paragraph map what I noticed while reading. And this is exactly what this is intended for. What this slide is intended for is this is just a brief description of what I noticed from each paragraph. Okay, these are my notes. However, when you are reading the passage yourself, any passage, you won't have time to do this. Okay, this is a mental note. This is in your brain, all right? For example, I have here paragraph 1, setup, guilt, and dependence. So all you really need to know is this is the setup. The setup of Mio and Mayu and how they are connected with each other, okay? Then you have, for example, explanation of the ritual and its purpose in paragraph 4, okay? All this is a reference, right? So while you are reading each question, you are able to go back or reference that part or that paragraph every time because you already made a mental note. I guess this is a skill, right? This is a skill I want you to learn, is to map each paragraph. Of course, what I have here is very, descriptive descriptions, very specific descriptions, because I had all the time in the world to make this. But when you are taking the test, you will have to quickly make mental tags for each paragraph. Okay, moving on. Let's dive in to the assisted sample practice questions. I have made 9 for you. So let's start with question number 1. According to the passage, what did the villagers believe would happen to the sacrificed twin after the crimson sacrifice ritual? Is it crimson ritual sacrifice? Crimson sacrifice ritual. According to the passage, what did the villagers believe would happen to the sacrificed twin? Okay, what do you think? What did the villagers believe? I have to read this several times. What did the villagers believe would happen to the crimson twin after the crimson sacrifice ritual? Let's go over the answer choices. So it says here, the twin would return as a spirit known as the kusabi. The twin would emerge spiritually as a crimson butterfly. Ooh, okay. I think that might be word for word. The twin would remain behind to guard the gateway. No, I don't remember reading that, so I'm already going to X that out. And the twin would lead the village with the surviving sister. Okay. And I'm going to say here D is incorrect too as well. And that leaves me with here. And it says here the twin would return as a spirit known as the kusabi. Well, remember the kusabi? All the way here, it was mentioned, I believe, in paragraph 6. Yeah. A visiting folklorist had been transformed into a temporary sacrifice known as the kusabi. So that has nothing to do with the twins. So I would cross that one out too as well. And that leaves me with the twin would emerge spiritually as a crimson butterfly. Okay? I want to write that. I want to circle that better. All right. And this is an example of a direct detail question. And the place to look for this answer would be in paragraph 4, and it says it word for word. So it says here, the sacrificed twin would emerge spiritually as a crimson butterfly, while the surviving twin remained behind. Okay, so I believe the trap, right? The closest trap would be C, because it confuses the sacrificed twin with the surviving twin who remained behind. Okay, so again, for this answer, this one's an easy one. It's word for word in the passage. I really don't need to do any more explaining on this. Again, read the passage carefully, guys. Make mental notes. This is how you will pass this portion of the test. Okay, and then the next slide, I do have the answers. So, and the correct answer is B. The twin would emerge spiritually as a crimson butterfly, as shown in the passage word for word. Okay, question number 2. As used in paragraph 1, ooh, I love this, okay? So paragraph 1, that's where we know where to look. The word revives most nearly means, and it says all these answer choices here, and let's go ahead and go to paragraph 1 and see where they use that word. And it's right here at the end. Although the visit appears to offer one final opportunity to remember their childhood, the landscape also revives the unresolved emotions created by the fall. And, you know, when I think about revive, the number one thing that came in my head was Pokemon, right? When you're at the Elite Four and you gotta send out your weakest Pokemon, your Zigzagoon, and you gotta revive everybody else. Hopefully some of you guys get that reference. But yeah, so like revives means to bring back, right? So let's go look at the answer choices and see which one closely resembles that. So eliminates permanently? No, it does not mean that. This is quite the opposite, right? Let's X that out. Makes more powerful? I don't see anything here, the surrounding words that could indicate that anything becomes more powerful, right? So we can X that out too. And it says explains the origin of. Again, no, has nothing to do with explaining the origin of. Okay, I don't know how to explain further these answer choices. And that leaves us with answer choice D, brings back into awareness. And that's exactly how I would picture, or how I would think revives means. It brings back, right? And in this case, we go more specific into awareness, right? So there was something that was lost, and it brings back into awareness that Mio's need to protect Mayu and Mayu's determination to keep Mio close, right? I guess. This one was kind of easy. Word for word in the passage, and all the other answer choices just don't make any sense. Okay, let's go ahead and see if we got this one correct. Question 2. As used in paragraph 1, the word revives most nearly means brings back into awareness. We got that one right, folks. Okay, question number 3. Moving on. Which detail most directly supports the conclusion that Minakami Village does not obey ordinary time and space? A, night never ends, and the roads refuse to lead outside. This sounds familiar. The camera obscura can reveal and repel hostile spirits. I don't know about that, but let's go back to the passage to confirm. Crimson butterflies repeatedly draw Mayu away from Mio. Okay, I don't think, just from reading this answer choice, it just sounds wrong. I don't think it has anything to do with to support the conclusion that Minakami Village does not obey ordinary time and space. So I'm already going to eliminate that. I want to eliminate B too, but this could be right. And then we have D, ghostly visions reveal moments from the village's history. Okay, that's also supernatural. This is supernatural too, but I believe C, we could just X that one out. So let's just go into the paragraph. Let's go to the paragraph that has the description of the Minakami Village, where they introduce the Minakami Village. I think it's better if I do this. There you go. Perfect. And that's paragraph number 2. So it says here, Mio pursues her, repeating the pattern that has shaped their relationship. Mayu moves toward danger, and Mio feels compelled to bring her back. This was in regards to the crimson butterfly, I believe. The trail leads them into Minakami Village, an abandoned settlement said to have vanished from the map. Although they reach it through an ordinary forest path, the village does not obey ordinary time. Okay? And it says here, it says the why. Okay? Here's exactly the question. The village does not obey ordinary time. Why does it not obey ordinary time? Well, night never ends, roads refuse to lead outside, and hostile spirits occupy the houses. Okay, it's word for word. The last thing we're missing is hostile spirits occupy the houses. So I'm going to choose A. No further explanation needed. We could go ahead and go to the camera obscura, but the camera obscura has a different purpose in this passage, unrelated to what the question is asking. So therefore, we could cross that out. Ghostly visions reveal moments for the village's history. We can cross this one out because, again, this one is word for word in the passage. No further explanations needed. No need to overthink things, guys. Usually your first inkling, okay, your first answer choice most likely will be the right answer choice. I don't know the science behind that, but it usually is. Okay, so go with your gut, go with what you know from the passage, and choose an answer. Okay, don't double back. Okay, people who look back die. All right. That's like a story in the Bible, all right? Lot looked back and turned into salt. Okay, don't be like Lot, all right? Question number 3, let's check what the answer choice is. All right, it's A. night never ends, and the roads refuse to lead outside. Okay, this was a direct example or evidence question. I'm not sure if I said what question number 2 was, but that was a vocabulary in context question. All right, I did my best to hit every question on from the introduction. Okay, so you will be prepared for any question that you encounter. Hopefully they have questions like this. All right, these ones are easy, and they usually do. Okay, so question number 4. In paragraph 3, I love it, paragraph 3. So let's go ahead and go to paragraph 3. One fragment at a time. Okay, let's go to the part where it says one fragment at a time. Right here, one fragment at a time. Let's read it. Or let's not read it, but we know it's there. Mio must repair the camera by locating missing pieces. I'm going to cross that one out immediately because I do not remember Mio having to repair the camera or by locating missing pieces of the camera. Okay. Each clue reveals a separate history unrelated to others. Ooh, this could be the answer choice. Okay. Understanding develops gradually as separate pieces of evidence connect. Ooh, that one makes more sense. And then here, one supernatural encounter explains the village's history completely. This is incorrect because it was more than one supernatural encounter. It was like diaries, photographs, documents, a whole bunch of other stuff, which explain the village's history. So I'm left with B and C. Okay. And let's go ahead and check right here what's going on. Let's go read the passage again or read the paragraph. Mio's only reliable defense is the camera obscura, an antique camera capable of revealing and repelling spirits. Yet the device also represents how the village's history must be uncovered indirectly, one fragment at a time. Okay? And it even says here how the village's history must be uncovered. Right? So that gives me that makes me lean onto answer choice C. Okay? Because we understand the story gradually, right? One fragment at a time. So I'm going to lead towards answer choice C, but maybe there's more support here where I could eliminate B. Okay? Abandoned diaries describe ceremonies without immediately explaining them, while ghostly visions repeat moments whose significance becomes clear only after Mio discovers additional evidence. A relatively peaceful spirit named Itsuki Tachibana even mistakes Mio for a girl named Yai and urges her to save her twin sister Sai. At first, these names seem unrelated to Mio and Mayu, but gradually, there's the word in answer choice C, gradually, however, the documents, photographs, and encounters converge. Converge means like meet at a point or something like that. Mio realizes that the village is not haunted by a collection of disconnected deaths. Nearly every spirit is tied to an attempt to control the hellish abyss, and I don't think I need to read further. I believe it is answer choice C, and let me try to explain why B is incorrect. Each clue reveals a separate history unrelated to the others. There's the clue. Unrelated to the others. The thing is, they're all connected. It even used the word converge, meaning that they will meet somewhere. Okay? It even further confirmation, Mio realizes that the village is not haunted by a collection of disconnected deaths. It is not haunted. Okay, so that means there are connected deaths. There you go. C is the correct answer. No need for over explanation, guys. Let's see if it is correct. And yes, understanding develops gradually as separate pieces of evidence connect. Okay, do you see what I'm doing here? Okay, I'm reading the question. After I read the question, I find where it could be in the passage, and then I do my best. I do my best to prove or disprove the answer choices. Okay, that's all I'm doing. Okay, you're gonna find the best supporting answer. or supporting, the best supporting answer. All right, question number 5. What can reasonably be inferred about Psy's influence over Mayu is effective? Okay, and I have here, you need to know what the word inferred means, okay? And what I thought inferred meant was like basically like what conclusion can you draw? But it says here, like I looked it up, and infer means to figure something out from clues. And I put here in parentheses, kind of like drawing a conclusion. However, with a conclusion, you have facts, okay? I don't know what you have for an inference, but to draw a conclusion, you have the facts. To me, they're the same thing. English is confusing sometimes. So what can reasonably be inferred about Psy's influence over Mayu is effective. So we have to figure out Psy's influence over Mayu. We have to establish Psy's influence over Mayu, and we have to figure out if it is effective or not effective. Okay? So let's go read over the answer choices. It intensifies a fear of separation that Mayu already possessed. It creates a fear of separation that Mayu had never experienced before. It causes Mayu to forget that Mio had repeatedly returned to protect her. It depends on Mayu understanding every detail of the village ritual. Now this one's a hard one. Okay, because we have to pick out many parts. We have to dissect many parts, many paragraphs. Okay, it's not just one. All right. So let's go ahead and look into paragraphs 1. Okay, because this over here, what do we know in paragraph 1? Well, we know in paragraph 1 that Mayu has separation issues, right? Where does it say that here? Right here. Mayu became increasingly fearful of being left behind. And what do we know about Psy? Psy was also left behind because her sister Yai escaped the immediate danger, but their separation had lasting consequences for both sisters. Okay, so Yai escaped while Psy stayed, right? And it's kind of like Mio leaving and Mayu staying. They're not the same. They're not completely identical. However, the stories are kind of the same. And that's how Psy does have an influence over Mayu. Okay? So we know that. That's established. And I believe that's effective because Psy, because of Mayu already coming into the village with the trauma of separation anxiety. I'm sorry, that was like a tongue twister. I hope you got my message there. So let's go ahead and read the answer choices again. Okay, so it intensifies a fear of separation that Mayu already possessed. And I believe out of all the things I just said, that makes sense. Okay, it intensifies a fear of separation that Mayu already possessed. Because what do we know from paragraph 1 and now paragraph 5 is that Mayu does have separation anxiety, right? That was already established in paragraph number 1. And in paragraph number 2, well, we get how Psy and Yai and Mayu, Mio and Mayu are identical. Their stories are kind of identical. They're both twin sisters, and one of them has been left behind. And the only thing that's really different is Mio returns when Yai does not return. So I know I over-explained that, but I believe it's going to be A. Okay, I have enough evidence that it's going to be A. That's the best answer choice. And let's just go ahead and try to disprove. I will do my best to disprove the other answer choices. It creates a fear of separation that Mayu had never experienced before. Well, no, okay, that is actually that's wrong. Because Mayu had always had this separation anxiety. So B is incorrect. It causes Mayu to forget that Mio had repeatedly returned to protect her. No, I don't know. I don't know how to disprove that, but it says Mayu to forget that Mio had repeatedly returned to protect her. Well, that's quite the opposite of what's happened, because Sai, right? The thing about Sai's story is Yai never came back. And then in Mayu's story, Mio always came back, right? Mio came back when Mayu saw the crimson butterfly and Mio chased her, right? That's just one example. So yes, I'm going to take out answer choice C, because every time Mio always came back, okay? And that Sai never had that influence because Yai didn't come back. And it depends on Mayu understanding every detail of the village's ritual, and that has nothing to do with this question. So we could just get rid of answer choice D. So I know I did a lot of over-explaining there, guys, and I'm very sorry for that. But these questions, these inference questions, are going to be the hard questions because you will have to pull from many parts of the passage. You will have to find many supporting details from the passage. Okay, let's see if we got this one right. And answer choice A is correct. It is the correct answer. And again, it's because Mayu feared abandonment before entering the village, making her vulnerable to Sai's similar desires. Man, that was in my notes. Maybe I should just read my notes. Okay, I did all that explaining just to read my notes. So there you have it, guys. Question number 6. What statement best expresses the main idea of the passage? Okay, so now we have to go to we have to look at the whole passage from a bird's eye view. You know, we're getting, what do they call that in management, where they want to overlook everything? I forgot what the term is. Remind me what that term is. But now you have to look at everything, okay? High level. You're looking at the passage from a high level now, okay? So let's go ahead and read the answer choices. So you're trying to find the main idea, okay? Do you know what main idea means? Like, it's close to like the purpose of the whole passage, but that's something different too as well. But the main idea, okay? The main idea of Halo, for example, is to destroy the ring, right? What's the main idea of this passage? Let's figure it out with the answer choices. The camera obscura gives Mio enough evidence to separate the village's unrelated supernatural events. I don't think that's the main idea, though. I think the main idea, the thing that kept popping up the most, was Mio and Mayu's relationship, as well as Sai and Yai's relationship, and then also how both of them are identical, and they both can and will complete the ritual. I don't know where I was going with that, but they're somehow connected. All right, Mio and Mayu and Sai and Yai are connected in some way or fashion, and let's hope that the answer choices will explain it better than I can. The destruction of Minakami Village results mainly from the residents' inability to locate Yai. You know, that is true, but it is not the main idea. I'm going to take that one out. Mio's commitment to protect Mayu allows the sisters to resist the village's effort to repeat its history. Mio's commitment to protect Mayu allows the sisters to resist. Well, that didn't happen. They didn't resist the village's effort to repeat its history. They actually succeeded. They played on Mayu's abandonment issues, and then they also played on Mio's ability to protect her sister, like her wanting to protect, her commitment to protect her sister, thus getting them both to the place where the ritual happened, and thus Mio and Mayu completed the ritual. So C, incorrect. So let's go look at D. Mio's commitment to protect Mayu is exploited by the village, causing the sisters to repeat its destructive history. And wow, I just said that. So I believe D is the correct answer. Okay? The passage connects Mio's devotion, okay, to the repetition of the village's destructive ritual. That one's in my notes. Okay? That is the main idea. All right? C right here, answer choice C, it has the correct relationship, but it reverses the outcome. Okay? Mio's devotion completes the cycle rather than defeating it. Okay? They do complete the ritual. It's a sad story. Okay? The game was sad. All right? I can't wait to play number 1 and number 3, but the game is sad. So we're going to eliminate answer choice A2 as well, and I'm going to go with D as my final answer. And yes, D is the correct answer. Okay, let's go ahead to question 7. And do you notice that the questions did shift? So I made them difficult after question number 5. Okay, or I didn't make them difficult. These questions are difficult. Okay, how is the passage primarily organized? All right, so this is just passage organization. So let's go see what the answer choices are. It prevents events in strict chronological order, beginning with the village's founding and ending with the sisters' arrival. That is incorrect because beginning with the village's founding, no, we started with Mio and Mayu's their description of each other and their relationship with each other, and then we ended with the ritual happening and them completing the ritual. So this is incorrect. It introduces the sisters' relationship and danger, examines the village's history and parallels them, and returns to their resolution. Wow, that is probably the correct answer. It explains the village's ritual first. Okay, incorrect. It explained the sisters first, and then presents several unrelated supernatural encounters without resolving them. Okay, we have in the passage, we know that there are several related supernatural encounters. Okay, unrelated, wrong. So answer choice C is incorrect. D says it introduces the sisters' relationship and danger, contrasts them with the earlier twins, and then shows how they avoid the same outcome. D sounds correct. Okay, almost sounds correct. Again, the passage when it introduced the sisters' relationship and danger. Yes, Mio and Mayu. We know who they are and we know their relationship. Then we learn about the village, and then we learn about the events of the village, how they're related, and then we learn about the twins and how they're related to the twins, not contrasted with the twins. Okay, the only contrast is Yai left and Mio comes back, and then shows how they avoid the same outcome. Well, they didn't avoid the same outcome. They actually shared the same fate, except for the fact that Yai escaped. Okay, Mio and Mayu actually completed the ritual. So D is incorrect. It describes a similar structure, but reverses the connection and the outcome. So D is incorrect, making, yes, B is my final answer. And this is from all this is from creating markers for each paragraph, right? Remember to create a paragraph map, a mental paragraph map in your mind while you are reading each passage. Okay. This is an hour-long video, or an hour long and some change video, but you only have a couple of minutes to get my thought processes down. You know, whatever I'm teaching you, this is all happening within 10 minutes or less. Okay. So do your best to soak up all this knowledge on what I'm doing so you could do it faster when you are taking the test. Okay? Let's see what we have for question number 7. And B is the correct answer. All right. Moving on. Question number 8. Which broader conclusion is best supported by the passage? And this is just like what takes me off about the English language is we just create words that mean the same thing and make it sound complicated. I don't even want to say it sounds better. So broader conclusion. To me, that's the same as main idea. However, if you look it up, okay, broader means wider or more general, okay, extending beyond one specific detail or situation. To me, that's the same thing as main idea. But let's just find out what the broader conclusion is, okay? This we have to take a mental note again of the whole passage. We have to have a bird's eye view, a high level view of the whole passage. So, harmful traditions remain justified when they are intended to protect a community. Harmful traditions remain justified. No. I don't think that's the broader conclusion here. Okay, this is what happened, right? Harmful traditions were justified and remain justified supernaturally, but this was not, to me, the broader conclusion. I'm going to take that one out. And then we have family relationships become, okay, cool. It moved the slide and I don't like that it did that. Okay, we're going to get rid of A. And then family relationships become harmful whenever one person feels responsible for another. Family relationships become harmful whenever one person feels responsible for another. That, it sounds true, okay? Because Mio gets pulled into lots of danger going back for her sister. That's a fact, maybe on the passage, but I wouldn't categorize that as the broader conclusion, okay? So I would get rid of B. And then it says here, devotion can become destructive when it is treated as a right to control or permanently possess someone. That's a whole lot of words, but I believe that's the correct answer. Devotion becomes destructive whenever someone returns to protect a person who is in danger. Wow. These sound both the same. Okay? And these right here, these are found in, let's go ahead and look in the passage. Okay, let's try to find supporting evidence. And I believe it's word for word in the last paragraph. So let's go back here. The promise that the twins would always remain together is therefore fulfilled, but only according to the village's distorted interpretation. Fatal Frame 2 presents attachment as both loving and dangerous, okay? Devotion can become destructive when it's treated as a right to control. Okay, loving and dangerous, so that's like devotion and destruction. Devotion can inspire someone to return for another person, okay? Yet when love is defined as a permanent possession, it can perpetuate the harm it was meant to prevent. Man, I don't know what perpetuate means. I didn't write that down. However, I believe it is answer choice C, and I'm going off of a whim here, okay? I don't remember the answer choices, okay? But this is one of those situations where you might have to guess, okay? You're going to be locked in on two answer choices, and you just have to do your best to choose the right one. And the best or the worst thing you could do is not answer it at all. Not to answer it at all. So I am telling you, this is advice. You know how you have your financial gurus who go, this is not financial advice, and then they proceed to tell you financial advice. Well, this is advice. This is test-taking advice. Answer every question. Okay? So, just dissecting this, and in my notes, it says here, the passage distinguishes loving devotion from attachment that demands permanent possession. And then I also noted here that D is too broad. Returning to protect someone is not automatically harmful. The danger comes from defining love as possession. Okay. So, I think it's because Mayu had possessive behavior towards Mio, in a way. So again, answer choice C. Let's see what we get. Answer choice C is correct. Question 8. Okay. Question number 9. The last question. What is the author's primary purpose in the passage? Again, we get a bird's eye view here. Okay. All right. So the primary purpose, the overall, okay, we're looking at everything as a whole now. And it says here, to evaluate the camera obscura as a weapon and explain how it affects Mio's chances of survival. No, the camera obscura was mentioned like one time in like paragraph 3. To connect the sisters' emotional bond to the repetition of the village's past and examine the dangers of possessive attachment. Oh my gosh, that one, just by reading it, I think that one's it. To recount the events leading to the completed ritual without drawing conclusions about the sisters' relationship? No, because we did draw conclusions about the sisters' relationship, of Mio and Mayu's relationship. We know more about them. I think by you listening to me speak about them, you even know more, and you didn't even play the game, you know? So we were able to draw conclusions about the sisters' relationship. So get rid of C. Okay. D says to defend the villagers' decision to continue a violent tradition. They believed it protected their community. No. Okay. Nowhere in here, did it say that the villagers were right. We weren't defending the villagers at all. Usually, the primary purpose is in the front. It's somewhere in the front. And at the end, that's just usually where the purpose is. Usually, the primary purpose and the main ideas are in the first paragraph and also at the end. Okay, those are the places to look. So I'm going to go with answer choice B. Let's get rid of D, and then I put here, the author combines plot summary with an analysis of attachment, repetition, and sacrifice. And then C recognizes the plot summary, but ignores the author's interpretation of what the events mean. Okay, yeah, further drawing me to answer choice B. And answer choice B is the correct answer. So I hope you were able to digest. I hope you were able to learn something from this. These are the 9 types of questions that you will encounter on the reading comprehension portion of the test. And yes, I did use a game that I played on my channel. And I think I'm going to keep doing this because it makes me go into deep dives of the game. And also, I feel like I'm getting more intelligent by creating these excerpts, these passages. I'm reading them, I'm making them, I'm learning new words. All right, I broke out my dictionary. Like, it's kind of awesome doing this. I'm not gonna leave you with nothing, guys. So what I have next, these are the additional unassisted sample practice questions 1 through 5. So go ahead and answer these questions. Make sure to put them in the comments below, or email me them, or just keep them to yourself. I don't care what you do with them. Okay. And that's all I have for you guys. I hope that you have enjoyed this and I hope that you have found this helpful. Make sure to check out all my other videos related to the IBEW to help you pass your tests. I have many testimonials of people passing their tests from many locals all over the US. And I hope and I pray in Jesus' name that you are one of them that passes their tests, so you have one less thing to worry about in the application process. Make sure to check out my gameplay of Fatal Frame 2. I have a whole series of it. I'm not completely done with it yet, editing all of it, but I did beat the game. I believe I am on part 9 right now. So start on part 1. Just put me on in the background while you are doing stuff. That would be greatly appreciated. Like the video, like all the videos, and comment too as well, and just tell me you're from the IBEW or something like that. That'll make me really happy. That's all I have for you guys. Markyfbaby out. I will see you on the next video. Bye.